Hey, I'm just on my way over to the fabric store to pick up some fabric for my daughter to make a prayer pillow. It's kind of an interesting time that we're living in where we can actually just order fabric online and go pick it up like a drive up. So I'm going to do that and I'll give you a little update as we go. All right, we're headed to the fabric store. My husband is driving. And give you a little background on this prayer pillow in case those of you who don't really know what that's all about. When I went to Peru a couple of years ago, I hiked what's called the Lares Trek. It's one of the Inca trails, and it starts at 11,000 feet, goes up to 16,000 feet, and then back down the other side. And I had a heart attack about almost 8 years ago. Maybe it has been 8 years ago. And so I was a little bit concerned about, doing the hike, but I thought if I can prepare ahead of time, if I can do some, some altitude training and also exercise and everything, that I would be prepared and ready. And I went to the doctor, got the okay, to go do this trek. And the trip was planned for June, and I live in Utah. We had snow up on top of our highest peak here in Utah County is Mount Timpanogos, and the top is at 11,000 feet, so it's actually the same altitude as where we were starting for this Inca Trail. So the unfortunate thing was, because of the time of the year, I was not able to get up on that mountain and do that altitude training. And as we got a little bit closer, I was getting really concerned. I did get the okay from my doctor, but my prayers actually started changing from this being a physical hike to being more of a spiritual hike. And my new beliefs that I created for myself were things like my spirit carries me to the top of the mountain. And my prayers were really focused on being able to do this hike and have myself stay healthy throughout the whole trip and to not have any physical problems. And so I was really focusing on my spirit carrying me to the top of the mountain. And long story short, I had an awesome time. There were a lot of people who had some negative effects, physical effects, because of the altitude. The bigger guys, just the pressure on their lungs because of the mass of their bodies, had a hard time breathing. There was one girl who actually went temporarily blind at the top, towards the top. Another guy was very ill. He was nauseated, throwing up, and delirious on the trip, but I did totally fine. I was so grateful that I had done that preparation, that training ahead of time, that this was a spiritual journey, not just a physical journey. And they nicknamed me the Energizer Bunny. I said I just keep going and going, and I had an awesome time. And while I was in Peru, I had got some fabric, and just recently I made a prayer pillow for myself, so that when I do my daily GPS, gratitude, prayer, and scripture, I have something to kneel on. And I used that fabric that I got in Peru to remind me of that trip and that it was a spiritual journey. And the reason this is kind of all backstory for the time that we're in right now, with everybody being asked to self-quarantine, and even today going to the fabric store and being able to just pick something up, sort of like a drive-up service. We are in a time where a lot of people could be super panicky because this is feeling like a physical trial. But when we bring gratitude, prayer, and scripture, GPS, into our experience, it turns it into something more than just a physical experience. And I was talking to my daughter a couple of days ago, and she said, I want to make a prayer pillow. And so we got online, we found some fabric, and she's seen me use my prayer pillow and to out of this fabric that has helped me to stay really focused on this being a spiritual journey, not just a physical journey here on earth, but a spiritual journey as well. And she wanted to have that experience as well. So we're going to pick up her fabric that is ready for us to pick up. And then tonight when she gets home from work, we're gonna make that prayer pillow. So just wanted to get you guys, give you guys this little background, and so that you can have this experience with us, and encourage you to actually start thinking of things a little bit differently during this time. That this is not just a physical journey that we're in. This is not just a physical experience, but there are spiritual aspects of what we are creating here, and there are ways that you can have an awesome experience and bypass some of those physical challenges, just like I did on that trek, that Laura's trek. Bypass some of the physical challenges that others might experience because of the choices that you're making. All right, so we got our fabric. Somebody just brought it out to us, and I just had to show my driver's license and to make sure they knew it was me. And curbside service, pretty awesome. All right, we're back home, got my fabric ready to go. So now I'm just waiting for my daughter to get home from work this evening, and we will make her prayer pillow, and I'll show you a picture of the finished product. And in the meantime, I'm gonna post some things about my daily GPS, because just like when I was heading off to Peru and I had no idea if I was gonna be physically capable to do this Laura's trek, this Inca Trail that I had signed up for, that became a spiritual journey for me. And I used my daily GPS as something to hold on to, and I can tell you that trip was one of that hike, that 3-day hike was one of the highlights of my life. And I go back to it again and again and refer to it as I see the hand of God in my life, and I see the miracles that He's capable of performing. So I'll post a little bit more about that in the meantime, and then I'll post another video when we get that prayer pillow done.